We are live. We're live. Hello, everybody. I hope you guys are doing great. It's another wonderful week again. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching. Nelly and I were so excited today to have another session. I think session number 8 of our children, their safety. And today we're going to be talking about a very, very interesting topic, which I am not going to let it out of the back first. Well, for those who don't know me yet, my name is Peggy Barre. I am a survivor empowerment coach and the founder of Arise and Thrive Academy, which is what we set up to help rebuild the lives of survivors of domestic abuse, kind of help them to heal, build their confidence, and to become resilient parents. I'm going to pass it to my colleague Nelly to introduce herself.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to yet another session. For those who don't know me, I am Nelly Kwasini, a social worker, a transformational life coach, and founder of, or director, one of the directors for for Hand in Hand Community CIC. So today is another interesting topic that we want to unbox. And I'll give that honor to Peggy to unbox our topic for today.
Yes, so today we are talking about, in fact, it was so important for us to talk about this topic today because, yes, school has resumed. We are happy. Parents are jubilating. Hooray. We're like, it's not as if we like the school runs and all of that, but you know what? At least we want the kids to go to go back to school, you know. So today we are going to be talking about building trust between schools, teachers, and families. Because remember that it's a mixed feelings. Parents are happy that kids have gone back to school. But again, we are worried what is going to happen. Are the calls going to start coming in? Oh, your child has done this, your child has done that. Are social services going to be knocking on your door? Are you going to be going to school and they're pulling you in one office and say, hey, Mrs. So and so, or hey, Mr. So and so, can we have a word? Or you hear that, can we have a word? You think that is a nice, that is. So, yes, this is what we're going to discuss today. But hey, beneath all of that, there is an appropriate way that we can all build that trust amongst ourselves, or build that trust between teachers and us, the parents, so that we can have that confidence and not be panicking every time we get that call or every time something crop up. And we need to know how to deal with it, even if it comes up, so that we don't even mess it up the more. So that's why we're going to be talking today, because trust me, academic year has started. We need to just make sure we prepare ourselves. So yeah, Nelly, is there anything you wanted to talk about? And then before we kind of dive in.
I'm really eager. Let's just dive in.
So yes, so today we're going to be talking about. By the way, Nelly has got some statistics, and before Nelly shares that statistic, let me say something. Today I was at work, and I don't know where I kept my phone, but I missed a call. And then when I looked at the call, it came from my son's school. Even though I know I'm not on their bad books, I haven't got anything to worry about, like any concerns, you know. But that little thing at the back of my head, oh my God, what happened? Why are they calling me? It's just second day, of school. Why are they calling me? So can you imagine that if I was a parent that maybe had had something to do with the school in terms of safeguarding before, and then you get that call, everything is just going to be running in your mind. And that is what can knock parents off. You see parents begin to panic because they're scared, like they don't want to go down that route again, or they don't want something to start again. So this is what we're going to be talking today. How do we deal with all of that? How do we navigate that journey of us relating with the schools? Because whether we like it or not, we still need to relate with the schools and teachers. So yeah, so that's what we're going to be talking today. And Nelly has got some statistics before we actually dive into the ways that we can learn to improve that relationship with the teachers.
Yeah. So, Peggy, the topic today. Have we said the topic? Building trust between schools. teachers, and families. So that feeling, I know what that feeling is when you get a call from school, even if there's nothing. And I think a lot of the staff at the reception, they know because when they ring, they'll be like, oh, there's nothing to worry about. And then they say whatever it is. So they know that parents are really scared when they get a call from school because it can be anything. Excuse me. Okay, so I looked up on some statistics because I like it to know the figures because figures give me a lot of understanding. So I've written that down. I'll be talking. I have to read it to be precise. So when I bend my head, I'm just trying to get the exact word. So the statistics that I want to read is as of 31st March 2024. So it's very recent. So the statistics says that a total of 621,880 referrals went to children's services. Out of this number, the largest was from the police. That is, 3 out of 10 calls were from the police. And the second was from school. So 2 out of the 10 calls came from school. So the referrals arise at the start of the term. For instance, between August and September, so this is just a perfect time. Around this time, the referral is 14.6%, and it has increased from 47,180 to 54,070. Then in January, that's after the or at the start of the new year, that is the highest, and it is 30.5%. So it increased from 42,200 to 55,050. And then end of spring, that is between March and April, there's a drop to 19.2%, but that's still too high. No, that's a drop of minus 19.2%. So from 58,860 to 47,550. And then July to August, that is before the summer break, it again is a drop from 13.8%. So that is a drop from 54,740 to 47,180. So just take a minute and think, why is there a massive difference between the start of the school year and the end of the school year?
That is really massive and really a big eye opener. And I would really want to know why that difference is, why that jump, from the start. And we're talking about August, between August and September. So that means this is the time where the spike, there's a spike in the safeguarding referrals. That
Yeah,
means the spike where teachers are referring children to safeguarding. Am I right? Like they're calling social services
yes.
to refer cases to them.
Yeah, just well, before you say that, I just want to comment, and I just want to read out this comment that a teacher who, I mean, she's fully aware of that. She says, I know most of the parents, each time they see my call, it is like, hope all is well, ma. So that's a Valerie. She is a teacher and she has first-hand experience. So thank you for sharing
Absolutely.
this. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So yeah, over to you. You can continue.
Yeah. So what I was trying to say is well, there's one important thing that we're going to be talking, which again, I think Valerie, as a teacher, I think she's going to kind of really have an insight into this. So I was trying to say, what could be that cost? So this is the moment where referrals are going to, like, majority of the referrals are going to social services. And Nelly, I'm just itching. Why? You from the social services this time? Why?
Okay, so this is my own understanding because I have had that first-hand experience when at the start of the terms the number of referrals that come in because we have to do so many different assessments. And what I find is that during the holiday, the children spend time with their parents.
Mm.
And during that time, if children are not treating the child very well, there might be arguments and things like that. The child, knowing that if they speak to their parents, they might get into trouble, they will keep quiet until when school starts. Then they know that they are in a neutral, safe environment out of the home. So then some children, they go to teachers and say, this happened, that happened. Sometimes children might display certain behaviors that is out of the ordinary from probably the last term that
Mm.
the teachers have been observing them. So out of curiosity, the teachers will ask because it might impact on the child's focus in class. So then, if the child discloses any information and it is safeguarding related, then the safeguarding lead will do whatever they need to do and then do a referral to social services. And from my thinking, why start of January has the
Mm.
highest rate of referrals to children's services, my assumption is because of the Christmas break. It is
Wow.
just 2 weeks, yes, but it is so intense because of the festivities. So, is it that parents are there feasting and maybe out of drunkenness, they maltreat the child? It could be anything.
Ah,
It could be anything.
it could be anything.
So again, it could be that the parent is unable to buy, say, Christmas presents for the child. And maybe if the child asks, or the parent's reaction to the child might not be appropriate. So again, it's because of that festive period over the Christmas period that, for me, I believe is a lot of the reason why in January there's a lot of referrals to children's services.
That makes sense. It makes sense because can you imagine that the 6 weeks that children are at home? To be honest with you, it takes a parent that have actually said in their mind that, you know what, I'm just going to become, because we've been talking about how can we ourselves become and like train our, being able to manage our emotions. Can you imagine that if you're a parent that you don't even know how to manage your own emotions and then you have to stay with that child 6 weeks during the holiday? Bearing in mind that during school time, they spend most of their time in school. And then this is you, 6 weeks, you're spending that time with that child. And then you're talking to that child, do this, do that, or don't do this, don't do that. They're not hearing you. Can you imagine that if as a parent you cannot manage your emotions, then of course things are gonna happen. And then I'm sure that is why when school resumes, the first thing, and I'm sure I'm sure some of these teachers, the first day they usually kind of really want to know how their holiday, how the holiday went, you know, like ask the student how the holiday went. Do they kind of prop them like prop into, I don't know if you get me.
I don't think it's per se that teachers get nosy, though it will be nice. But I think, like I think if Valerie could say, I'm sure she'll be able to give more light because I've not worked in school before, but like a teacher, but I go there to do assessments. But I don't think that teachers will intentionally want to know unless a child displays an abnormal behavior or behavior that they have not observed from that child, then they'll ask them. But sometimes, yeah, I think behavior is the easier way that teachers can determine what is going on, and then from that concern, because they'll start thinking something is not right here. From there,
Mm,
they'll start asking the question. But it's not that they'll just go on the first day and say, "You, how was your holiday? You, how was?"
yeah,
I don't think it works that way
yeah.
because the referrals is that first week. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then,
Absolutely.
when the children are away and they start school, they are excited. And sometimes they say things not to report their parents or to report what has gone on at home, but they're just so excited. And then things come out. But then the things that come out, some of them are not. I mean, the teachers might look into it that, oh, that's a safeguarding concern. Like, imagine if a child is so excited and say that, oh, you know what, my mom or my or my dad, they got drunk or they were shouting and screaming, and then they might be focused on what they did. Probably they were like, oh, we just locked ourselves in the room. For that child, they're not being malicious to say to report their parents, but it's just something
Mm,
that happened to them. And because we know that whatever is linked to our emotions or to our feelings, we pay a lot more attention to. So the child will just say it. So imagine you as an adult, if you hear that, you want to find out more. So
absolutely.
that will just be the way. That's just my thinking that teachers will follow that as well, or will do something like that because it's out of curiosity. Because when parents take children to school, they are putting the children in the teachers the teachers now have responsibility for the children while in school, so it is
Yeah,
their duty to take care of the child. Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. And I was reading about one Harvard paper today, and there was one lady who wrote an article about the importance of building trust between families and parents. And that whole article was focusing about trust, because trust is the key. We need to trust one, not our. We need to first of all, as parents, trust ourselves. Sorry, we've started talking about how to, but we need to first of all trust ourselves, and then of course be able to trust the teachers, as well as the teachers need to trust the parents. Now, before we even talk about that, I said that I got a call today and I was panicking. If it was yesterday that I got that call, I would have really panicked. And the reason why I would have panicked, why? Because can you imagine, Nelly? Again, like you say, sometimes children put parents like on the spot, and again the teachers can kind of put the blame on parents when it's really not the parents' fault, right? School started. I went and spent money. I bought new uniform for my son. I bought new school shoes, right? But then can you imagine that first day of school, which was yesterday? My son deliberately decided to wear his old uniform. And if I tell you about the old uniform, his blazer, it had a hole, like a tear at the back of that blazer. And then he wore the shoes, the old shoes, without even wiping it, without even polishing. Can you imagine? And then in the morning, I did not, he left. I didn't even check him. And then when he came back from school, immediately I walked in. I saw him standing with that blazer and that shoes. Oh my God. If I could bust the roof, you needed to see the way I was screaming. I was like, why is that so? Is that how you disgraced me today? Is that how you dressed? I went to school that. So can you imagine that? Okay, that is on the hindsight. Think about the fact that that child goes to school like that, first day looking like that. What impression, first of all, the school is going to have? The school is going to assume that I'm neglecting, like I haven't prepared, I haven't bought that child stuff, and that child is coming to school looking that way. No, it was in his room. Do you know what I did? Immediately, I pulled that blazer off his body. I removed it. I removed the shoes. I took the blazer and the shoes. I went and put it in the bin. I said, he said, oh no, the new one is long. I said, whether it's long or not, you must wear it today. So when the school called me today, the first thing that went in my mouth was like, oh, and then I suddenly remember, I said, no, I put it in the bin. So that means, so, so this is what we're talking about. we we need to first of all make sure that we can also be confident in ourselves and be able to manage our own emotions, because if we don't, then things like that, we might get it wrong, and it might get out of hand. It might get out of hand. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting. Children are so fond of that. So I'm just thinking that we have talked about trust. Let's just go back a bit. When we talk about trust, what does it look like? Because your trust, I'm sure, will be different from my trust. It will be different from everyone else's. So let's just go back. What does it mean by trust?
Again, trust. It would have been good to define trust in terms of the right trust. Would it be more of trust is confidence? Trust is it kind of mean what it will mean different things to me. Is assurance? Is confidence? Is that reliability that I can rely on you? Is the confidence that I feel that I can entrust my son in you or entrust my child in your care, knowing that you're going to look after, take care of that child? And is also the confidence on my side that you as well can be confident in me as a parent, that I have got the capability and the ability to be able to raise my child up in the best interest of that child. So I feel that again, trust will constitute a few of those things. I don't know whether I'm just talking out of my head, but
Hmm.
maybe we would have looked if we maybe if we looked at the definition, then it might give us a clarity of what trust in itself is.
Yeah, so I've just looked up on trust. So it defines trust as firm belief in the reliability, truth, or ability of someone or something.
Yeah,
So it's a belief.
yeah,
So then, if we go down to belief, it's down to the individual, which is it relates to what I said before that your trust is different from mine and other, and our experiences contribute to how we trust or how we mistrust people.
yeah,
Yeah. So,
absolutely.
yeah. So then, okay. So as we are relating to schools, teachers, and families, sometimes parents have trust with school because they know they can rely on on school and the teachers because they entrust their children in their hands to teach them, to instill morals in them and things like that. But on the other hand, there are some parents who mistrust school,
Mm,
teachers, the educational system, authority as a whole. And that one, some parents have genuine experiences that makes them have or develop that belief that they cannot trust whoever. Though again, I think it goes back to our emotions because a belief is a notion that you have in your head.
yeah,
It is not static, but if you choose not to change, then you keep on believing in that. But belief is fluid. You can change it as long as you accept and identify that that belief is a limiting one, is stopping you from doing things. Because sometimes when parents do not trust school or teachers,
hmm,
I've seen in a lot of times where the teachers or the parents will talk to the children, and then the child or the children will start developing that belief as well, not to trust school.
yes,
And it goes down to emotions. If parents are not able to manage their own emotions and not projecting their insecurities onto the child, because if a parent has had a bad experience with schools and teachers, it doesn't mean that all the other children will have the same experiences. However, if parents tell the children that they had such a negative experience, they are already putting that information in the child's head. And
yeah,
gradually, the child will develop that belief to the extent that they might not want to go to school and they'll come up with all excuses that is because of this, is because of that. And that goes back to the parent, the information from the parent that has influenced that child to develop that belief to mistrust school and teachers.
absolutely. That is so true. And I think when we're talking about trust, again, we're talking about first of all, parents, we first of all need to be aware, and awareness, especially among the black age, the minority communities. There are certain ways that schools function in this country that it is not the same way that it functions in where we come from. There are certain ways where there are certain teachers that are, for example, I'll give you an example. There was this one of my client that I supported. In fact, it was not a client; it's one of somebody that I knew within the community. And because their child was behind in terms of their milestone, like their learning milestones, the child was behind. So because that child was behind, that child was assigned a one-to-one tutor in school. I think there's a section there that they put the child on section something something. Of course, social services were involved. So, but then they appointed that child a one-to-one teacher, a personal tutor or something. So, of course, that personal teacher was building a relationship with that child in school, right? And the child tend to more of lean or trusted the teacher more than the parent, because that child kind of felt like she felt safe when she went to school. Because for example, when she goes to school and maybe she if they give her a task and then she passes that task, that teacher will reward her maybe with a toy or with a little thing, just which is normal because that is what schools do anyway. They reward that child with either a toy or something something. So when that child bring that toy back at home, the parent was complaining. The parent was feeling, I don't know whether they're feeling uncomfortable and feeling inadequate. Like, she said that teacher is spoiling the child. And now when the child comes home, the child is now putting pressure on her that, oh, yeah, by the way, you cannot buy me this toy. I will go to my teacher. My teacher is going to give me that toy. So, and that notion kind of damage the relationship between that mother and the school, particularly with that teacher. You understand? So when she explained things to me, I did not first of all understand what was going on. So until the day when I went to the school, to one of the social services meeting, and then they explained why that child has been assigned to that one-to-one tutor, and why that child was being rewarded in like toys and all of that. So can you imagine that if, for example, if a parent that doesn't understand how these things work in school, it will kill their own confidence and or actually affect their relationship with the teacher. Because every time she said when she went to school, she didn't even want to greet the teacher. Again, because at the back of her mind, she has already built this impression or this notion at the back of her mind that that teacher is kind of spoiling the child or something of that sort. So again, it's coming back to that point where how do we build that trust? We build that trust by first of all knowing the system, knowing what is being done, how the school functions, what is happening with your child in school. That's the one thing
Yes.
that I think that's where we need to start. Yeah.
Yeah, I think just to add a bit there. So before it goes to the support plan that you are talking about, it sounds like it's education and healthcare plan where
Yeah.
they have, because they do assessment and to know the child's health and care needs, for
Mm-hmm.
them to put a plan in place. And like for a child to have a one-on-one support, it is very important because in schools, they support children who are delayed to get to a certain level.
Yeah.
But just looking at it from, like you said, from the minority communities, there's this notion that because I think it's around lack of awareness around mental health and emotional well-being, because I'll talk, for instance, ADHD. I have
Mm.
heard a number of cases where a child has ADHD and they're being diagnosed, but the parent, because of lack of knowledge around ADHD, first of all, they are blaming the school, and then they are blaming the child for being lazy and things like this, and even autism, which
Mm.
is that lack of awareness. So if a parent, imagine if a parent is at home and if they want the child to do something and the child doesn't do it, they don't understand that that child is struggling,
Mm-hmm.
because first they have that limited knowledge that there's something like um, functional abilities and things like that. So then in school, because they are trained in different things, they can easily pick up that this is what the child is not performing well. Sometimes it could be that the child has problems with their sight and maybe sitting at the back of class, they don't see the front, or maybe they're sat at the front and they don't see the board. So they're just little things. And schools are trained, teachers are trained to pick up on things like that. Imagine if the parents are not if the parents don't know or even have an idea that the child is struggling, and then school have identified that and speak to the parents. Some parents will not agree to it. Like there was a time I watched someone on one lady. She has a lot of followers on social media, and she was talking of she's from an African country, and she was talking about parents not to accept when social services get involved, because schools, because they want to she used a word, and it'll be like they want to downgrade their children to put them on a certain plan that is low level, but when in fact that's not the case. And she added that they want to target African children to put them to be diagnosed for ADHD and autism. So I listened to that, and I was really, really infuriated, because that was wrong information that someone with a large follower, they don't want to educate themselves and giving wrong information. And unfortunately, people will listen to
Mhm.
talks like that and not actually follow the recommendation or the suggestion from school. But
Mhm.
then, as far as social services is concerned, they will focus on the needs of that child. They want to do whatever decision they take to be in the best interest of that child. And if a referral comes in and a parent is saying, no, my child is perfect, and it's common to compare a child with the other siblings and say, why is it just this one? You are targeting my child, but the other children are perfect, they are fine, they are excelling well in school. So then they don't look at the individual differences within the family. And then already that one will bring some issues, because the parents will not want the child to get the support that school is offering, and it will obviously bring some trust issues. So it's for parents to be open-minded. It's not that you just accept everything that school tells you or any professional in the first place tells you. Sometimes go back, because at this modern age now, we have so much information online. It's for you to go do your research. And now children do a lot of research because they have access to the internet. And if, I don't know if you've come across this, if a child has any symptom, that they've already made a diagnosis, because they will do research and do research and do
Yeah.
and make a diagnosis. And imagine if they go to a parent, and if they have the courage to go and talk to the parents, because that's another that's another issue. And then maybe they go to school, and the school is understands what the child is going through, but the parent doesn't understand. So already it'll be trust issues, and it might go back to the example you've just said, that the child will feel more what is the word, more reliant on the teacher than on the
Yeah.
parent, because she will be able to talk about things that they are experiencing to the teacher, as opposed to the parents. So that's already widening the gap in the relationship.
Absolutely, that's so true. And that just brings me back to the importance of, first of all, one of the ways to build that relationship within us, the school, and is first of all build a healthy relationship at home with our children. It's about to have that atmosphere, that open atmosphere, conducive atmosphere where our children feel comfortable to speak to us. I know there are certain things that even if we make it as, they will still not say it, but at least we need to give them that platform, that opportunity where we can be approachable, right? We can be approachable. You know, if the ones that they can disclose, or that they can come to us, and that will be appreciated. Let it be in such a way that they can run in, not run out. And running in means that if they have concerns, or they have some questions, or they are worried about anything, they should run in to the house and then be able to air that with parents rather than run out to maybe friends or run out to others to kind of seek that solution out there. So I think that is one of the things.
Yeah,
So that trust begins from home. It begins from building the trust between ourselves and the. We've also talked about the trust between ourselves, like the trust with me, myself, Peggy. I need to
yeah,
build trust with me, Peggy, with my own self. And that trust is when, how do we build that trust? Is trust is when we keep to, like, if we say we're going to do this, at least we keep to this. Or if we say we're going to, first of all, know who we are, find our values, know our boundaries, really know who we are as a person. That is what gives us that ability as well to be able to build trust in who we are as person. Because when we don't build that trust, how can we start instituting or start putting things in place for our children? It's not going to work. So it's first of all, be that inner trust with ourselves, and then of course build it with our children. In that way, at least we can create that healthy relationship, and then we can be able to know how to approach the schools in terms of, again, I don't know whether you want to talk about that, Nelly, because again, we I know you did talk about the trust is subjective. It means different things to different people. But I think the nutshell is more of that, that confidence, that assurance that you say, what, I'm entrusting my child to you, and I trust that you can take care of that child.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you've said many, many powerful points. But what I want to talk about is there's this notion within the African community that this is how I was brought up, this is what I did, and that's how my children will be as well. So, which
Mhm.
is why a lot of the times our children, especially children who are in the diaspora, they have a different understanding of life as compared to back home. So then, when parents want to talk about things their own way from their own experiences, it doesn't, I mean, it's different generations. And if parents, like you said, parents to start educating themselves, because that's
Mhm.
something that I found that a lot of African parents, they don't have that time to educate themselves. You've talked about personal development. They don't. And this is why we are taking things back, because we will want to argue out of ignorance
Mhm.
and to start saying that we have been targeted and things like that, which is not really the case. So, how parents can do it, like what Peggy has said, is personal education. Examine your beliefs, because the way you were brought up does not necessarily mean that you will bring up your children that way. Think of it. Some of the behaviors that were exhibited, did you like it? If the answer is no, then why do you think that it's acceptable for you to do the same with your children? Obviously, your children will not like it. And
Mhm.
a lot of parents have insecurities, which they would want to pass that on to their children. The children have their own different pressures. So then, how is it helping the children? It's not. And it's going down not only down to trust, but also the relationship with the children and the parent. Because, like what Peggy has said, we need to create a safe, secure, and nurturing home environment so our children can feel confident to come and talk to us. Because if they don't talk to us, they'll always have somewhere to talk to or somewhere to
Yeah.
go to. And
Mhm.
it is highly likely that we will be pushing our children away, because there are people out there just waiting for the children with open arms. And before we know it, it might be too late.
Yeah.
So, again, parents, is for us to come back. And this idea of, I mean, I know we are Africans and we focus on community, but then within that community, we have individuals. Most
Mhm.
of the times, we forget about the individuals and focus on. But if I do this, what will the community do? But then you as an individual, you are living your life. No one in that community is coming to support you or even give a helping hand. So then
Mm-hmm.
why do you focus on what they will say, what they will think, what no. Focus on yourself because everything needs to start with you. Start with yourself. Start composing your own self. And what I
Mm-hmm.
like to say is because you know my focus is on emotional well-being.
Yeah.
So I tell parents to always focus. I know there are two main emotions, love and fear. So anything that you want to do, ask yourself, is it out of love or out of fear? But be very cautious because sometimes we act out of love or thinking that we are acting out of love when it's actually fear. So you need to
Mm-hmm.
differentiate. And I advise that if you want to do anything and you realize that it's coming from a place of fear, that is your ego. Take a step back and try to reframe whatever you're thinking about. So those are just some of the things that parents can do so they start taking control of their emotions. So then they can relate well with their children and make the home a safe environment for the children to start coming to them and talking to them.
Absolutely amazing. And I think another thing that I wanted to add is that we also, as a community, need to make sure we get the right information from the right source. The fact that my whoever neighbor, or the fact that a fellow person that I meet on the road, or even within my community, the fact that they've got problem with their children and the school does not mean that that is the same thing that applies to everybody. And if we don't get the right information from the right source, it instills fear and it breaks down that confidence, that trust already. Somebody might come and share with me their story, how whatever they're going through with the school. That doesn't mean that that same thing is going to apply to me. So that is another important thing. We need to first of all make sure that we're getting the right information from the right source. And one thing that I also wanted to add is that this is the time academic year have started. Again, one thing I noticed, like in those my days where I was really, really going through my challenging moment, especially when my relationship broke down and all of that, it can feel tempting as somebody who is going through a lot of emotional challenges. It can feel so tempting to neglect ourselves. And that every time we show up in school, maybe to drop our kids, we look so tattered, we look so uncombed, we look so unhappy, we look so miserable. Those are little red flags that we start shooting those red flags without even without even us telling anybody that that is what we're going through. So I experienced it for a few. So everybody that knows me, I love my dressing. I always is kind of my thing. And I just for some reason I did not have any joy or any satisfaction in I was just anyhow. There was day that I'll wake up and just go to school even without like brushing my hair, and that is how bad it was. I was really struggling emotionally. But then I kind of I was so lucky that I kind of realized myself so quick to say, you know what, no, I need to pick up the pieces. I need to pick up the pieces and be who I know I am. That is when I started changing. When I want to go drop my kid in school, I make sure in the morning, first of all, I wash myself, I dress, I look good, not excessively like going to put makeup, just no, at least just look presentable. And then you also speak with confidence because you are going there when you drop your kid. Other parents are watching you. Oh, sorry guys, sorry. Oh my goodness me.
You
I was
okay?
talking, I was talking, and this massive spider just came, just crawled from nowhere. I'm not scared of spiders though. I've crushed it. So we're talking
Mm.
about teachers are watching you, and when the way you speak, even when they talk to you, the way you respond, those are little things that they are picking up. So when you as a parent don't start showing confidence in yourself, that starts to raise a little bit of doubt, So again, how can we're talking about how to build that relationship. It's about how you show up.
Mm-hmm.
Show up as a confident parent. Show up knowing that you know what you're doing and you know you're acting in your child's best interest. In that way, even if they were to say call you aside and say, then that is where your confidence has to ooze out. But Nelly, just like you say, confidence cannot we cannot breed confidence if we got emotional issues. We have to solve them first, so that at least we speak with confidence and act in confidence and show up confidently. Yeah, so that's just one thing
Yeah.
I just wanted to add.
Yeah, I think that's very powerful. Sometimes, like you said, you've been through that experience. I've been through as well. So a lot of the times, people are miserable, and straight away when you see them, you just know that they're miserable because they don't take care of themselves, and already
Mm,
you are portraying yourself in public. And yeah, so we need to focus on our children because, like you said, not even focusing on what other parents will say, but then
mm,
focus on how your child feels. Because imagine that you are going to drop off your children in school and you are so unkempt. Sometimes you might be walking and the child wants to be a few meters in front of you, and you'll be like, oh, why are you walking ahead of me? And sometimes parents will not even ask. They'll be like, oh yeah, come here, come and stand here, come, let's be walking on the same line. And then they'll start bringing things because the
yeah,
child, out of respect, the child will not tell you that, mom, dad, I don't want to walk next to you because you are unkempt. The children will not, because
yeah,
they know that you are not kempt. They feel embarrassed because one of their friends might see you, and
yeah.
that can be a source of bullying. They might use
Hmm.
that to bully children, and bullying in this country is so common. The least thing, they target a child and they bully the child. So is to focus on your child. Sometimes have an open discussion with your child. Give them the opportunity to tell you how they feel about you,
Yeah,
because then you will start to make the adjustments. You will start to make the adjustments. So if your child is refusing to go somewhere with you, don't take it personal, though you might be the contributory factor to why they don't want to go with you. Probably is that you talk and you just talk stupidly, and they might not want it, but out of respect, they will not want to point that out to you. So focus on your child. What will be the best interest of your child, so that you
yeah,
communicate that with school. But then you need to understand your child at an emotional level, not just the physical level. And one thing that I want to add that I think is linked is about seeking clarity. A lot of the times, parents do not understand the educational system. They don't understand the system as a whole. So, if especially those from the Afro Caribbean community, so if there's anything that you don't understand, ask, because when you ask, it will be explained to you. And if you don't understand, ask again. If it means requesting for an interpreter to talk to you in your language, indicate that in school, because you have taken your child to a school, you want to know what is going on with your child. Get engaged with your child, know what they are doing in school, which I've noticed many parents do not even know what their children is doing in school. As they leave the house, oh, what a fresh air. They've gone, they're in school. That's one burden for a few hours. Be curious. Ask your
yeah,
child, what have you done today? What did you enjoy? What did you not enjoy? Why did you not enjoy? And things like that, because children would like to explain things, even if they don't explain it to your satisfaction, that it is their experience anyway. So give those children the opportunity, because when you are asking, the child understands that the parent has an interest in what they do. And in a way, that's opening communication with you and your child. So then, if anything goes on in school, your child will come and tell you that, this happened in school, that happened in school. So that if it means that you, as the parent, you need to go into school to speak on behalf of your child, you will go there
Mhm.
confidently. And if you are going there and you are able to manage your emotions, you go there and you speak facts and not
Yeah.
just your opinion, presenting as if it's factual. And
Yeah.
then be open minded to ask questions, to understand what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely, Nelly. That actually just brought me to 2 points. The second point that I wanted to talk about, can we build that relationship, healthy relationship with the school, is first of all to follow up with what the school is requesting in terms of our emails, terms of activities, terms of attending parent evening. Trust me, sometimes we can be very busy, and honestly, I can put my hands up that I have missed. There are times that I've missed parent evening. Like I've missed the email, like see it last minute, and then I maybe I did not even book ahead of time. So again, is keep on taps with, because sometimes if the school sends you an email and then you don't check the email for like weeks and weeks and weeks, you don't respond. And that again is sending a signal of how keen are you really to follow up what is happening with school and your child. So we need, no matter a busy schedule, we need to try and make sure we pay attention on emails that are coming from school, at least read the emails, notification or notices that they're giving us from, like, that they're sending. I know sometimes it can be too much, and I tell you, there's sometimes that I cannot keep up. There are sometimes that I open some of those emails, I just look at the right important. If they're just like announcement that does not, I don't open it, because sometimes it can be back to back, it can be too
Mhm.
much. But whichever way, is just make sure you anything that concerns your child, those measure things, make sure at least you, like Nelly said, you are aware of them, so that if the school calls you, you're not like, again, those are signals to show that you're not really paying attention with what is happening with your child. So it's very, very important. And then another thing that I just wanted to say again, is about making sure that sometimes we can at least even participate in things of that involve parents in school. There's some meetings that sometimes it makes, like, parents can volunteer, because this is about a way of we're building that relationship. I know building relationship is not just about coming to drop your kids and go. There's some certain activities that sometimes you can go to an extent, if you have the time to kind of go into the school and maybe do some volunteering or whatever in the school, that kind of makes you to know, those teachers will get the opportunity to even know you more. So again, I'm not saying that is a stretch, but I'll also say, if parents that maybe have the time, that's another way of building that relationship with the school. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for those points. I think in addition, if you need support, ask for it. Because
Yeah.
a lot of the times, I don't know if it's out of pride or out of ignorance, we don't want to seek for help. So it is very important to seek for help. And remember that as a parent, you are your child's first teacher. Regardless of
Mm.
the fact that children go to school, they spend more time at home with you parents. So parents are to model or to be a model to their children. Model respect so that your child can follow suit, and also that trust. Because if you model that you respect and trust the teachers who are imparting knowledge onto your child or children, then your child or children will know that it is absolutely important for them to
Mhm.
respect the teachers as well. And when you are in school and any issue comes up, don't
Mhm.
just accept it because it's from school. You have
Mm.
the right to understand why. So ask the teachers, ask the school. You can even request for a meeting to go and discuss on that issue so you know. If you are not clear on it, ask them. If there is a plan, ask them a copy of the plan. That
Mhm.
what do you need to do now? Because if they have concerns, ask them what the concerns are, what the plan is, and you will know what works for you. because the school don't know your child as much as you do.
Mhm.
You need to be advocating for your child in their best interest, because if you don't, that's when schools and social services will take the decisions for you or will impose them on you. So focus on your child, let them make the decisions in the best interest of the child. Ask for a clear action for now and the next step, so you are in line with it and you follow up like Peggy has said, so that you know what is going on and how to guide and support your child through their educational system, because you will be building trust with your child, vice versa, and as well as school. And then as a parent, there are little wins. Let's celebrate them. Me, I like celebration. Sometimes I just celebrate for nothing.
It's good. It's good.
So
It's good.
we need to make it a habit to celebrate the small things, the
Mhm.
small things. And then the last thing that I want to talk about is parents. If there's something that you are not happy with, there's the complaint procedure. You can put in a complaint.
Yeah.
Put in a complaint. If you request for it, it's something that any organization will give it to you. If you are not happy with something, and especially if you've talked about it and it's not been addressed, you've talked about it, it's not been addressed, and you want to put in a formal complaint, ask for it. They'll give you either the contact or they'll give you the link to make a complaint.
Absolutely. And then another thing I'll just on the back of on that is another thing what I wanted to say is that if we as parents can make it a practice, now this is the start of the academic year. If we can also make it a practice to lock things down, we should have a logbook, where it's a matter of here and there. If you get a letter here today from the school that oh your child did so and so and so and so, you lock it down, with the facts, what your child did, how they resolve it, or whatever action was taken, so we have it down. The next time it happens again, log it down. The reason why it's very important to have those logs is because when it comes to a point where you know that you are trying your best and maybe there is a concern, that genuine concern that you a parent you're having, about that school or the way they're treating your child, that lock that you've got is more like your evidence, where you can have a traces, you can have like a trace of what has been happening in school with your child and how they've dealt with it, whether they've dealt with it in a satisfactory way or on an unsatisfactory way. You have that lock with you. The reason why is very important because when you have that log and you meet the school to speak, you're speaking with facts and you're speaking with confidence because you know what has happened, and you can also tell them whether you are happy with the way they dealt with it or not. Because, mind you or not, we as parents, by the way, at the end of the day, I always say, no, nobody has the best interest of your child more than a parent. I know some of the parents, I cannot say, well, I wouldn't say all parents, but a majority of the cases, no one can say they love my child more than me, or like if you get what I mean. So at the end of the day, yes, we want also to protect our children. We also want the best for our children. Yes, we trust the school that the school can take care of the children. But what if they're not doing so? Should we just keep quiet? No, we have a right as well to raise a case, or not raise a case. We have a way, we also have the right to challenge the school if there is something that we deemed or we have seen or we have witnessed or we have locked it down and we feel that we are not happy or satisfied with the way things have been dealt with. We also have the right to challenge the school or challenge the teachers, because it's a two-way thing. If we're talking about the best interest of the child, there need to be a holistic approach where that safety is coming from the home, that safety is coming from the school, that safety is coming from the community. We all need to have a holistic approach to protect that child. So If I feel that the school is not doing so, or maybe they say they are doing so, but I can see something different, and maybe my child is also experiencing something different, then yes, of course, I can challenge it. So this is why we're saying that parents don't, like you said, Nelly, don't just accept anything that the school throws on you. It's about asking questions. And when you have your log, if you've been logging things down, I think that is the best way a best way of direction to say, you can have your logbook where you can bring it up and then, speak with confidence. So that's another thing I just wanted to add.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, thank you so much. I mean, those are really important points. And I think, yes, we know it's very important to build a good relationship with schools and teachers, because we are handing our children to them to impart knowledge into our children. So if we've talked about like the statistics that I read out, that the start of the new academic year, like this week is the start of the new academic year for most schools, there is a lot of referrals, though that statistics was England based, but there's a lot of referrals at the start of the academic year, and also New Year, January is the highest. So it's for parents, like we've talked about, building a good relationship with your child at home. Make your home a safe, secure, and nurturing one for your child to foster their growth, their development, and the relationship with yourselves. Though it is easier said than done. We can say whatever we are saying, but then what is the practicality of parents actually doing what they need to do? They have their own emotional struggles that prevents them from even managing their emotions and their relationships with themselves. Talk less of managing their relationships and trust with their children, their families, the children's schools and other professionals. But on the
Mm,
other hand, we have come up with some suggested ideas that parents can use. For instance, get involved with your child's education, because if you build a trusting relationship with a teacher or with school, you are indirectly showing the child the importance to build that good relationship and trusting one with their school. And that's how the child will really enjoy going to school, because they will know that they can say whatever they have to say in school. Parents, get involved with your children. Attend like parents' evening activities. Know what your child is doing, because like they have their planners that this week they have these lessons, they're doing these activities and things like that. Get involved. Ask your child questions when they come back from school, so that the child knows that you have an interest in their education. And in that way, you are building a relationship with your child. We have talked about having that open communication with your child, and most of all, focus on your child, because you gave birth to that child, or you brought that child up to be a better person. So support your child in their education, in their development, in their welfare, in everything that they do. And if there are any issues in school, you can ask for a meeting, request for a meeting, get into the meeting, bring out the facts that you have gathered, and it should be factual, not just your opinion. Keep facts, like Peggy has said, keep the facts so you use it as evidence. And then, if there is a plan in place, ask or make a contribution to what you know will work for you and your child. And don't just accept a plan because school has said that. If there are
mm,
questions, if you have questions or you don't understand anything, ask them and they'll explain to you. If it means that their explanation is difficult for you to understand and you need an interpreter for your language or your dialect, tell school that you will need additional assistance with language because you don't really understand the English that they are talking about. And then celebrate. When I mean celebrate little wins, that's my thing. That's why when I want to say it, I always laugh because I'm always into it. And if you are not happy with anything that is going on and you have requested for that thing to be dealt with and it's not being dealt with, request from school their complaint procedure and put in a complaint. I don't know if that's a fair summary of what we've talked about.
That was amazing. That really summarized everything that we talked about. And I'm sure that it's all about there is the talking bit and there is the doing bit. So I think we've shared some key points there where if parents really want to build that healthy relationship with their schools and with their teachers, I think if they act upon all of these things, some of them may have already been doing it, but I always say we always learning. Me myself seated here, I learned. I'm always learning because not sometimes I even forget how many times have I weeks have I forgotten to even sign my child's diary, and they will have to send it back to school. Parents sign here, and then because the child comes and then he himself he forgets to bring it. I also don't remember. And then when I finally get onto that diary, I notice that oh, I haven't even signed. I haven't signed for the past 4 weeks. So life is busy. Come on, we live a busy life. And yes, as parents, especially you're hustling to make sure you put food on the table for these children. You can only do much as you can do what you can do. But in spite of our busy schedule, what we're saying is that at least let's be able to make sure that we build a healthy relationship with ourselves, with our children, and the school because we already have too much trouble on our plate. We don't want more troubles to be coming from school and from the social services. We don't want that. So that was amazing. So I hope if you're watching, I hope you've taken something from it. Or if you think that maybe you have a tip that you can drop on the comment section to help another person or parents who might be watching this, then of course by all means drop that tip on here. People are always going to watch after or watch later. So yes, and I hope you enjoyed the session. And like Nelly and I always say, if you have any topic or anything that you think you want us to discuss or even be a part of the panel, please, you are so much welcome. We are so much welcome. Me and Nelly, we are just diving into these things. Every 2 weeks we come in, just talk from the heart. We don't know where it's going to take us to, but we know, definitely know that what we're giving out there, at least is making a difference in somebody's lives and in the lives of our community. So thank you so much for tuning in. And then Nelly, I don't know whether you have anything to say before we call it the day.
Yeah, thank you so much. I just have one thought that I want to it's like a closing thought. So
Mhm.
let's be giving our children the responsibility. Like when they go to school, if they have like letters, ask them because they always inform them before they send the letters to parents. So make it a habit in a way of giving the child the responsibility that whatever information they share in school, they need to come and tell you because sometimes they give them hard copy letters. So it's to
Mhm.
give that child that responsibility because small things like that, they start knowing that, yeah, I need to share with my parents that this, that, that, that. And it might help to remind you as a parent because of your busy schedule that the child will come and though sometimes, I mean, I've had this so many times. It will be like that 1 minute that they are about to leave the door and they'll be
Yes.
like, oh, mom, you need to sign this letter. So it's to give our children that responsibility. So that's just all I wanted to add. Thank you
To be
so
honest,
much.
yeah, to be honest with you, we need grace to be parents in the Western world. In fact, not just the Western world, all over the world. We need some grace, I'm telling you, because it's hard work. It's hard work.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching and those who will watch later. And we look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks. And if you want to get in contact with us, please do so. We are waiting. Thank you so much.
Thank you for watching. Thank you and take care
Okay,
of yourself.
bye.
Thank
Have a
you.
good
Bye.
weekend. Bye.